September 16th, 2023. Last night after I did that one video, some girl drove by screaming, "I didn't think about it before." It's like, oh, come on. Then today, people out North Canton, off in the distance outside my clients, was saying stuff. You could hear it through the open window. Well, then I look out and there's a young blonde girl and another girl walking off. And within a few minutes, they're out there talking. That young blonde girl told everybody not to say anything to her, that they photoshopped everything on her, and that agent stole all the money. And even the drug dealers know the worst thing she ever did wrong was bend over improperly, and you can't list somebody a child molester for that. And nobody's to say a word to her. That agent stole the money. And even the drug dealers know the worst thing she did wrong was bend over improperly, and they photoshopped everything on her before. And she told everybody to stop saying stuff. It's Michelle. People were saying later on today it was Michelle again. Where September 3rd, 23. Outside of Kohl's, about 6, 7 o'clock at night, Michelle's outside screaming at everybody, these people better not be saying anything to her. That idiot already confessed. He photoshopped everything on her before. The girl said she's some kind of nurse. She said, I know, and these people better not be saying stuff to her. That idiot already confessed he photoshopped everything on her. And she said, well, you told these people you wanted everything. And they made it happen. I know. See, Michelle and Dave broke up right after the divorce. It was no longer fun. She was 18 and he was 60. As if they'd stay together. It's been 4 years since they've been together. 4 years. You do realize my divorce has been over for 2 years and 2 days. September 18th will be my 4th anniversary. They broke up right afterwards. And with that agent stealing the money since the first day, it's ridiculous. They've already sold the login to the FBI KC Open, had statements, had an officer talk to Dave, and he left it open and let it run. And he stole the money, and they sold the login and made a ton of money, and it's got old after the 4 years. It's got ridiculous. See, on a recorded line, see where I called the hotline, and the government keeps the recordings. I called the hotline around September 23rd, 18. Report threats on my life. They drugged me up so bad the next day I couldn't hardly wake up. I've told you about that in other statements. And it took me on the 3rd day, I'm sitting on the front porch holding my head. What's wrong with me? They're drugging the hell out of me. And I went out, started mowing lawn, trying to get enough air in my face. I called Sarah, one of my witnesses. I gave the hotline. She said, of course, Karen, it's getting darker and scarier the way she's talking about it. Of course I'll witness for you. So I go out and buy her card, but that agent's number now, where he left it in a voicemail where he called me back. I hadn't even talked to him yet. Called the hotline the next day, my phone's ringing. I can't hardly wake up. Rivers of tears. I kept saying I can't. And rolling over in rivers of tears running down my face. Who's that? Letting it go to voicemail. Wake up later, listen to the voicemail, say da-da-da-da, call me back. I can't. I would stagger even to the bathroom. What's wrong with me? They were drugging the hell out of me. That's what was wrong. Kept me up, drugged up so they could get to him. Okay? And I told you where I called Sarah, she said she had witnessed for me. I went and I went down and bought a card and put that agent's number in it, and I talked Dave into going to the mall, and we dropped it off her manager, put it in her locker, went up to Apostolic Church of Bremerton. Paul Pamer got in Dave's face. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off. How dare you bring the FBI up here with threats on her life? Women walk up. He knows she's being drugged, being raped, and he said he didn't care. I walk off, and I had bruises, giant lemon, orange, grapefruit-sized bruises at times, swollen personal area, and migraine, headache, throwing up, lost 18 pounds before I called the FBI, where they were drugging, beating, raping me, under amnesia drugs, so I wouldn't know what was happening to me and just wake up in that condition. When the doctor, Altman family physicians will verify, I was seen for all those things, and they weren't putting it together as being drugged, being raped in my own home. And I walk off and I sit down, and they come in and say it again. He knows she's being drugged, being raped, and he said he didn't care. Okay? And he was saying, if she's going to be faking, she was saying, and thinking she got well, while that family was grieving, she didn't care what he was going to do, what they did to her, he was going to turn her back over to him. Can you imagine an agent saying that? Dave comes in, let's go. We get out in the truck. And he said, Dave starts yelling at me how to kill me as that. Okay? And he's punching at me until I almost jumped out on the highway, swinging at me. I ran from him when I got home. Okay? Next day, I have rivers of tears. I'm scared out of my... I have had 4 attempts on my life before, and the people are showing back up here. And they're bragging it's them, and I'm going to die. And there's been attempts. I'm scared out of my mind. I tell him about the guy that threatened to knife me. He said, was there a camera on the bench? I don't know. He said, you either say you're lying or I'll arrest you. And I said, what? He said, now, was there a camera above the bench? I said, he tried to kidnap me before. You liar. Terry let me tape her with her permission. He's an actual known serial killer. This is where it's rich. He's a kidnapper for the human traffickers. The authorities know what he looks like. He had already killed Lori's family member, my one coworker, and then he went on to take Marlisa's niece, my house manager. And they've took a bunch of people. And I'm describing a known kidnapper and a known serial killer. Okay? And he's called me a liar. That's who he let go. Now, you either say you're lying or I'll arrest you. Fine, whatever. Bullies me into more false statements under a threat of arrest. Okay, and other threats. Why would the FBI help a person like you? They've tried to kill me. So, like, murder's not good enough for them. I said, they're going to kill me. So, give me a real reason. The guy yells out, well, we could always use Pete's Tupperware with yourself. The guy, I said, what are you talking about? Because you could hear it echo through the phone. He starts giggling and stops. You don't know. I don't even know who Pete is. They're yelling out my rapist's name and my stalkers and mocking me. And I don't know who he is. It's that bad. I don't know who he is. And the guy starts giggling, stops, you don't know. Then they yell at something else. And I don't know what they're talking about. It's a roofie confession. I never talked to him. See what I mean? And the guy's giggling. Stop, she doesn't know. Okay? Give me a real reason. And I told him about my brother-in-law, Craig. I said my brother-in-law, Craig, was a private consultant for the FBI, unrestricted war weapons, worked under Dick Cheney and traveled the world. That makes him CIA. I give him his name, and when he died, he's like, well, I could always move you out. I'll just leave you somewhere. He said, it comes with no money. I said, I don't have any money saved up. I'll be homeless. Well, he said, if you agree to get me information on Dave and the churches, I'll open an informant program, open an account today. I said, well, I can do that. He said, I'm opening an account today with $5,000 a month. You'll have that from now on to live on for working this case. Okay? And he said, I'll make sure no man touches you, and I'll pull you out if it gets too bad. And then the life of peace as an informant. Nothing legally stated dated against you again, and only for you would we ever do this for. We'll always put it back to the traffic ticket, even when you tell, and you can't be legally charged for anything for work in this case. And you'll have that money to live on from now on. And then he flip-flopped and threatened me. I told my friend from the Stark County Prosecutor's Office, he started laughing until he had tears. He said, that agent can't talk to you like that, and he was only bullying you into staying quiet. No sitting judge would ever assign that a court order. He said, taking your freedom of speech away. He said the Department of Justice would put him in jail. He said the only sitting judges can only take your freedom of speech away. And it can only be during a sequestered or a grand jury. He said he was only bullying you to get away with it. He said no sitting judge would ever sign that court order. But the only thing that can be in the witness protection program is your money and immunity. Well, I looked it up. They're going to add housing, living expenses, and a medical card. They can't ask you to stay quiet. Like he said, he's only a higher law enforcement. He's only a higher police officer. He doesn't have the right to even ask you to stay quiet, nor does he have the authority. He was only bullying you to get away with this. And he said, and the police would know that. And he said, and as far as him bullying you into false statements, they know they can't go along with that either. He said, and as far as the FBI, they can never legally drop you. Once the government agrees to protect you, they cannot unprotect you. If they ever tried to drop you, the Department of Justice would put them in jail. He said they can move you to a different witness protection program, and any witness protection program you can tell whoever you feel comfortable telling. They can't open their mouth because of the freedom of speech. He said, I said, well, they are, no. He said, I don't care. He said, it takes a sitting judge to put a gag order on you. And take your freedom of speech away, and then there's requirements how they can only do it because of the Constitution. He was only bullying you. He said the FBI can move you to another witness protection program, but they have to speak to you first. The Department of Justice will put them in jail if they try to drop you. And they owe you, if you work 5 minutes a case, an hour a case, you get them any kind of information, and you agree to go out and try to get it for them. They give you, put you in that program and protect you. They can't unprotect you for the rest of your life because they could hire someone else to kill you. And the Department of Justice will put them in jail. And he said they can't legally drop you. That agent stole the case the first day, December 2nd, 22. One of the officers assigned to me, and the next day an officer showed up, a tall white officer with white hair, heavy set, older white man. They said he just got back from asking Dave about threats on my life. And my case started September 27th or 28th of 18, carrying around the house. Stark County Sheriff's admit to working at North Canton Jackson Police, of knowing at Massillon Police, Hartville. Canton Police even know the officers that were assigned to me. I worked at CSC Bank. I seen the officers assigned to me walk out of the back of the bank. And the Canton Police called them officers. North Canton Jackson Police seen them at Liberty House here in June of 19. They told them the worst thing he ever did wrong, honey, is bend over and probably we can wipe that one out. See, that's where that blonde girl was telling them that. Even the drug dealers know that. See, last year I was out in Navarre on Chapel Church Road, one of my clients. And working there, and they had already told her in February or March of 22, when I first started working there, that retired Judge Pete ordered everything to be drugged and photoshopped and made up on me. Well, some of the Michigan and other drug dealers were out there driving by screaming stuff at me. Then one of the Michigan drug dealers slammed on his brakes and yelled at her and said, I looked it up. It says the worst thing she ever did wrong was bend over improperly. None of this is funny. She said, well, they made up the second part. He said, me and my men are out of here. And they left last year. See, by November of 18, in front of the investigators, this little old white man came up at Wood Forest in front of them. For every idle word you tell on us, I'll turn it on you. Now, there's undercover cops, investigators all around me. I'm like, who are you? He said, you tried to leave Dave. I'll list you a child molester. I'm like, who are you? Now, I had woke up with a bruise on my leg, throwing up, dizzy, sick again. It took me a while to get myself together and to go down to Walmart. He comes up and he says that, and he says, you know that bruise on your leg? It's way up on my thigh. And I'm like, yeah? He said, I use sodium pentothal on you. Sodium pentothal is a lethal outlaw drug. You lie under it. You'll say like I said, the questioner gets what it wants, right or wrong. But Mitch Pearl Harbor, Spy Flicks movie stuff that you lie under and it's lethal and outlawed. Okay? He said, I use sodium pentothal on you. You know what you told me? No, I never talked to him. He broke in my house. He picked my bedroom door, stabbed me with a date rape drug, an amnesia drug, and told me to say this stupid lie. Stupid lie. He said, you told me that you were wearing this one nightgown. You bent over improperly once, and they accidentally seen your butt. And you had a life of pain because of it. Life of pain? You try to leave Dave. Now list your child molester for it. That was their whole plan. Drugging me up and photoshopping me. Besides the attempts on my life, it didn't work. Okay? Well, I get away from that freak. My house is legally bugged by them. I go home and I'm like, Dave, I always wore the grandma nightgown, underwear, and a house coat when the grandkids were over here before. He's like, I know that. I said leggings, sweater, and a house coat when the grandkids were over before. I know that. I said, besides the grandma nightgown and some laces I kept for you, everything's new from this last year. I know that. I said, years ago, we were video chatting. I had the grandma nightgown on, underwear, and a house coat. And I bent over the TV and you helped me fix the DVD player. And they went, ooh, Grandma, what's on the back of your legs? Varicose veins. Hair hole papal. Well, I get changed. They only made fun of the back of my knees where my varicose veins were. He said, I know that. What's wrong with this? See, like my client on Shoplow Church Road, her one neighbor yelled at that drug dealer from Michigan, knock it off. He said, I looked it up. The worst thing she ever did wrong was bend over and probably none of this funny. They made up the second part. They drugged the second part, apparently. Like they yelled outside there last year, we had found out some old ass was drugging up Karen before. That's where June of 19, Liberty House Sheriff, the same main officer, tall white guy with white hair, and the Canton Police calls him an officer. Okay? He was over the case. He told the North Canton Jackson Police, the worst thing you ever did wrong, honey. You bent over and probably we can wipe that one out. It's only me finding the back of my knees. And I was dressed modestly, and Dave confessed he knew it, and we were video chatting. The only meat on the back of my knees, there was nothing to wipe out. That's where they were saying it was Michelle again, out telling people to stop it. Stop saying stuff to me. And that the worst thing I ever did wrong was bend over, and probably even the drug dealers know it. And none of this is funny, and that agent just stole the money. And she's telling people that. September 3rd, 23, she yelled it outside Kohl's about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. These people better not be saying anything to her. That idiot already confessed he photoshopped everything. We're November 18th, 22, Walmart 62, Eric, one of the drug dealers. All the tapes before were me and not her. It was my idea to come up with it, my idea to say it, my idea to do it. For all these people to turn on and they fell for it. Ha ha ha. Well, if it's only you, I could take care of it. I know it's not bad and they still fell for it. Okay, June 30th, 23 was the life of the party. How he made fools out of all these people. Mocking him. People were screaming up in Hartville and in Akron. How he mocked everybody again. It's old videos of it. Okay? June 7th, 23. Walmart 62, Lighthouse Tabernacle. Don't call. Makes fun of FBI Agent John. FBI Agent John fell for the stunt of tapes before? Oh, come on now. That agent actually fell for that? It was only a stunt. You're kidding. You mean John actually fell for stunt of tapes before? You're kidding. Is that what's going on? FBI Agent John fell for the stunt of tapes before? Ha, ha, ha. Is that why they got away with it? Because FBI Agent John fell for the stunt of tapes before? Ha, 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 ha. They call it made fun of him. Sold videos of it. Videos of Eric making fun of everyone. July 9th, 23 in Trinity Gospel. My client and I are sitting together. A lady sitting right behind us, admit to selling the login, making tons of money off them, selling federal information. Okay? Say a bunch of other stuff and then dare the FBI to fix it. The FBI wouldn't dare fix this after what one of their agents did. He dared them. I thought, SWAT teams, hailstones from heaven, they're going to get the call on the bad people, right? Then nothing. Sheriffs have already got their confessions. An undercover officer was talking Christmas Eve. They already had that guy's confession. Everything was him before. I've also heard sheriffs talk about no one should ever say a word to her. They made fun of that guy from falling for this. It was done by the drug cartel and the girlfriend's dad. How could you? Roofie confessions and photoshopping? Seriously? How could you? They're supposed to drug me up and told me to say all kinds of crazy stuff. And people walk up and laugh at me. They drugged you and told you to say this. They drugged you and told you to say that. They also beat and raped me. Where's that funny? Where's it funny? I didn't talk to any of these people. You do realize, with them roofing me, and it's amnesia drugs, me, just like my coworker Dar got taken from bar, didn't know she left with those people that raped her. They could have told Dar to say something. And do you realize that? And taped it, and she didn't even know she talked to him. She didn't even realize they raped her until she found out she was pregnant 2 months later. She just found herself in a puddle of pee. They even redressed her. You do realize you're sleepwalking. Friend said she willingly left with him. She don't even remember talking to him. They're day rape, amnesia drugs. You're sleepwalking. They've had amnesia drugs since the 1960s, like LSD, acid, and a bunch of other stuff. Occults and hippies used to do them. Brainwash people. See what I mean? And kidnap people. I don't want to hear it that people don't know about roofies. They're sleepwalking. It was a drug scam. And they already confessed to shower scenes May 12th, 22, May 26th, 22. They photoshopped everything before December 9th, 21 at a Dublin apartment. The guy at the Hunger Task Force. My client's neighbor on Shepler Church Road. That everything was drugged and photoshopped. They all went to the police. And a whole bunch more drugged and told to say stuff and then laughed at people for framing me. March 24, 22, they admitted to framing me. Then they mock the facts, they mock everybody. And it's got to the point, even Michelle is telling people to knock it off. It's not funny anymore. That agent stole the money. He stole it on the first day. I told him, since when do people think it's funny that a cop steals from victims' funds? It's not. Like $295,000 at least. And how much you want to bet? I'm not the only one who stole from. Opened a case with statement under fraud that he was going to help me. protect me and left me up there to die. With their acknowledgement of Pete, Dave told Danny he hired Pete on his own. I didn't even know who Pete was until 9/18/19. His picture was hanging on the wall at the Ravenna courthouse. And I thought, that's it, one little old white Santa Claus following me around. Okay? I didn't even know who he was till that day. I never talked to him, still haven't. Like some guy showed up in Akron, where I was working with my one client. He was outside telling the construction workers, don't say a word to her. She's never met the man that did it to her. He's like, then how did he do it to her? He said, I don't know. He said, but it's already verified. They photoshopped everything and what they did to her before. And he was doing all this for his daughter to get everything, and him and his daughter and that her ex-husband didn't work out. And he did all those things to her. And he needs to realize how not funny this is. And everybody needs to realize how not funny these retired Judge Pete is running a drug scam. He's in it with the human traffickers, just like the Florida retired judge. Retired judges have no authority. They're retired. And I talked to Kathleen Mullins, an attorney up there. I said, who's that little white Santa Claus, Judge Pete or something? She said, I don't know. If his picture's on the wall, he's been retired a long time. I said, well, he's friend with Judge Timothy Ludick. She said, oh, I don't doubt that. They probably are friends. But he's been retired a very long time if he's been on that wall. Okay? All right. That's where you can't even touch anything with a conflict of interest. That agent was to arrest them for RICO charges. And a lot more in human trafficking me out of that house. Like that guy told the construction workers, don't say a word to her. That guy needs to realize how not funny it is. Doing all these things to her for his daughter to get everything. And then his daughter didn't even work out with her ex-husband. They've been broke up since 19. I asked my daughter-in-law Dixie about him. She said they haven't been dating for a long time. It was a long time before Kathy. But Kathy was in 20. They broke up after my divorce. It was no longer fun. She's an 18-year-old kid with a 60-plus-year-old man. They weren't going to work out. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this. But people need to turn them in. That agent opened the case with statements. With their acknowledgement of Pete, Dave told Danny he hired Pete on his own. With Pete, his girlfriend's dad, and his drug friends to frame me. It was a big drug scam. From the drug dealers, human trafficking. Where that agent opened a case with statements and just let it run so he could steal from the case. They impersonated federal officers. And the human trafficking drug trade ran wild down here. That's where the sheriffs and marshals, where I met with my one friend on January 20th, 23, they knew about the case that agent opened with you. They knew about the Texas group in your case. And I'm like, the Kingsmen? He's like, is that what they call themselves? And men dressed business casual, sleeves rolled up, looked at me. Then they found 35 people tied up in a railroad car. They were finding African American people just shot and thrown along the railroad tracks. There was a retired judge in Texas involved in this human trafficking scam. They went down to question him. He killed us off. There's another retired judge in another state involved in this too, and they were going to use the case that agent opened with me to get these drug traders human trafficking people. And you have so much hurt and pain in your eyes, and then he drove me till I was stuttering while they watched. I cried for 2 days. Don't do that to me. These people tortured me and sold videos of it. Think it's funny? Raping women, human trafficking. Think again. You need to realize how repulsive and disgusting these pigs are. They are bastards and disgusting pigs, raping and drugging people in their own home and trying to extort money out of photoshopping. It's a sextortion scheme. To go in and tape somebody naked, unaware, Photoshop shower scenes. You know, at one point they said that they erased Chris out of her room. I've never had a guy named Chris in my house. During the case, there was a tall white man with black hair they called Chris. I never talked to him. And they talked about erasing him out of the room. Do you realize I never had him in my home? I never had any of these people in my home. I just had bruises, throwing up, heart racing, dizzy, almost passing out, and a severe swollen personal infection. And I had bruises I couldn't explain, and large ones all over me. They were drug beating, raping me, and drugging me up with amnesia drugs. They could have drugged me in one room, told me to say something, and then photoshopped that in another room. And where they claim that it's a shower scene, but do you realize what they drugged me? They could have told me to do anything and then Photoshop that later. You do realize Photoshopping is just clicking and pasting. It's that sick. You sleepwalk. I've talked to sheriffs over about amnesia drugs, and they told me those are so bad. They could have drugged up the people to take down the towers, and they did what they were told, and they killed everyone. He said, you're under somebody else's control for 4 to 6 hours. He said, with no memory. And I've talked to other ones, and they've said about the same thing. And are your local police slow? You should have been put in a safe house the first day. No, everybody needs to turn this in that has a login. Everybody turn it in. That agent stole the money on the first day, December 2nd, 22, when the officers assigned to me. Okay? And Wendy's Alliance was in there with the day program. Is that the one that Church tried to have killed? Yes. I heard she didn't get any money out of this. He said, no, it's the one guy stealing from the case ever since the first day. Okay? That's where even when the officers showed up this last Monday at Aspen and Dental and Alliance and said, we all feel bad. We found out how that agent talked to her. We all knew he left her up there. And then to find out he didn't even pay her, he did all this to steal from her. We all realize that now. People were then talking around me, even the police are saying that the only thing that's going on is that agent is stealing. See, Michelle was out there telling people that too. Okay? And to knock it off. See, it's no longer fun for them. These people just running around acting like Looney Tunes. And just spreading lies. Like those kids said. That blonde girl said the worst thing she did wrong was bend over and probably. And you can't list somebody a child molester for that. And even the drug dealers know the worst thing she did wrong was bend over improperly, and that none of this is funny. And that's just that agent stealing all the money. And nobody's to say a word. And that other guy already confessed he photoshopped everything. They've been confessing they've been drugging me and telling me to say stuff since 18. And they admitted to the shower scene in 21 and 22. Okay? None of this is funny. It's 2023. I'm going to go ahead and upload this.